So you might have been ingesting toxins of some form or another, for pleasure, and not knowing the effect that it has on you. So then you kind of have to say, now I know better, I'll do better. And I won't beat myself up for what I didn't know when I didn't know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Authentic Conversations. I am Amarelis.
And I'm Susan.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
All right. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Today, we are going through our meditations that we run every Thursday night at 8:30. And we've decided to do 14 mindfulness training sessions. And after Susan guides us through these, we come back to authentic conversation and kind of break it down a little bit, see what we're thinking, or maybe you, our audience, might be wondering after you do the meditation. Don't have to do it, but if you want to, you can go back to our channel and check it out. If you're listening to the podcast, it's not on the podcast, it's on YouTube. So Hi.
Oh, gosh, so much to remember. Wait, let's forget it all. Let's forget it all and come back to right now. Oh, mindfulness training, present moment awareness. Yeah. Amaryllis, take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, relax, release the shoulders, relax the jaw, soften the muscles on your face, let your hips sink, let your thighs and calves melt, let your fingers gently curl. Like that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about being present. And the fifth of the mindfulness trainings is compassionate, healthy living, right? And so healthy living is one thing and it sounds great. Okay, so we're going to eat all the right things and watch all the right things and do all the right things and say all the right things and think all the right things. Who knows what all the right things are, right? So we have to slow down and listen to ourselves. And we have to be compassionate in our awareness, right? So I think I know what's right for me and I make a decision or a choice and I move in that direction and I recognize that it's not taking me where I want to go. I have two choices. I can beat myself up and quit altogether or release the idea that I have any worth or value or that I'm deserving. Or I could be compassionate and say, hey, how would I know that that wasn't the right direction if I didn't try it? So there's no hard, fast what's right. It's really what's right for you. And we use the slowing down of our thoughts and of our physical bodies. We use the stillness or the pause to see what inspires us, to see what shows up, to see what we're noticing, to see how it feels. Because if we don't slow down, we're just ramrodding ourselves through life. We're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and never having the opportunity to be reflective, to restore, to renew. So compassionate, healthy living, yes, is all those things, making all of those choices that work for you now. And those choices that you make that work for you now will continue to grow and change and evolve as you do. So, sorry, how to get right to it, because I feel like we got to pay attention, notice, be present. Back to your breath, nice deep inhale, right? That's all we can do. So every time we get sidetracked, we just go back to our breath and it brings us right back to now.
That's number 5, guys. Compassionate.
Compassionate, healthy living. Click, check.
Click, check it. All right, Susan. Well, that's a lot. I mean, you try your best let's talk about healthy living first of all. So how does this break into the compassionate and healthy living? So it's like, are you being compassionate to yourself that if you're on a diet and it fails through, you have to be compassionate with yourself? What's the healthy living part of this component? What do they mean by that?
So healthy living in here, I'll actually go to the mindfulness training itself, right? So compassionate, healthy living. We're determined not to accumulate wealth while millions are sacrificing. Oh, wait, so let's start from the beginning. Hold on. Aware that happiness is rooted in peace, solidity, freedom, and compassion, right? So happiness is not in material items or wealth. You cannot buy happiness. You find happiness from the inside out, right? So it resonates. So healthy living is creating an environment or a host inside of yourself that allows you to feel joy. So how do we do that? We practice looking deeply into how we nourish our mind and body with edible foods, impressions from our senses, volition, and our own consciousness, right? So healthy eating, healthy awareness, healthy watching. We're committed not to gamble, use alcohols or drugs or anything else that allows toxins to enter our body and the collective body and the consciousness, such as websites, electronics, TV programs, films, magazines, books, conversations that go against healthy, happy, joyful living. Right? So it's really about paying attention to what you're allowing in. Because remember, the happiness is rooted from inside, and inside is based on your awareness, right? What you see outside is based on the awareness of outside is based on how you're feeling inside. It's really an inside job. We will consume in a way that preserves compassion, peace, joy, and well-being in our bodies and consciousness in the collective body and the consciousness of our families, our society, and our earth. So it's really right action, right? It is doing what is best for you. And by doing what's best for you, you are actually doing what's best for your surrounding community, and you're doing what's best for the planet Earth and the world around you. And we do know at an innate feeling level when we're going against our grain. And we're going to do it anyway. And that's where compassionate, healthy living comes in, right? Because we have to have compassion because we don't know what we don't know until we know it. So you might have been ingesting toxins of some form or another, for pleasure and not knowing the effect that it has on you. So then you kind of have to say, now I know better, I'll do better. And I won't beat myself up for what I didn't know when I didn't know.
Okay, there's a lot there. And I think we talk about this all the time. I mean, I just was listening to one of our episodes, and I think I once again mentioned the phones, right? The technology of it being so to our hands. And guys, I do look at my phone when I wake up in the morning, so I don't want to try to be like I do this perfectly. And I catch myself like looking in and saying, okay, well, what am I looking at? So I'll try to then focus on going right to my meditation, because that's my goal. It's in the morning. My phone is set next to me so that I can plug my headsets on, and I wake up anybody. And then I can center myself with whatever meditation I choose for the day. But I catch myself going right into the
Social media scroll, absolutely, into the abyss. And like sometimes, so I know my feeds have great stuff on them.
right.
I don't know what anyone else's feeds look like, but I'm discerning about who I follow and what I follow. And maybe that's where it starts today, right? Healthy, compassionate living. Why don't you get rid of or block or temporarily hide or whatever it is? Like, you don't have to unfriend anyone. But we all know who those people are that just take your feeds and go, and you're like, oh, why would I want to see that? Why do I need to know that? Is that really something that I need to know or be a part of or, energetically give space to?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just a little cleanse so that if you are picking up and going to scroll phone, maybe you're inspired by things that you see. Maybe it's uplifting. Maybe, it starts to feel better.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was telling my friend the other day, there's a show that I love to watch. There's a part of me that loves it. um, but there's a part of me that gets a little, okay, I'm done with all the murdering and who's gonna get cut off in the end. And I have to stop watching it. And so we were trying, maybe you can help me explain a little bit to this because I couldn't explain, like, I just feel this energy and it's either draining or a little bit uncomfortable. I have to be careful what time I watch it because if it's before going to bed, then I don't sleep well. And I know it's a show.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's the attachment. So you can be entertained by things in perspective. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
watch TV, you can watch shows, you can watch, stuff that's, as long as it's not energetically affecting you. And if it's energetically affecting you, then you have to ask yourself why you need that type of entertainment.
Hmm.
Does it bring you joy?
Right.
Does it bring me joy? Does it lift me up? Does it make me a better person? Does it help me feel better? Does it help
Yes.
me step into my light, be my best version of myself? So you can say that every time you sit down for a meal, every time you go to turn the TV on, every time you go to scroll social media, every time you decide whether you're, keeping or losing a contact. Yeah, we change, we evolve, we're evolutionary beings. And I think that's kind of the theme in my 14 mindfulness training, sessions here is just about the evolution of us. So as we grow and change, our beliefs change, our tastes change, what we desire changes, how we feel changes, how we choose to live changes. The more we know, the better we do.
Okay, so how are we compassionate with ourselves when, if you are an empath, like, and you feel people's energy? So I had another conversation with somebody that maybe, because I think we were kind of debating it back and forth, and I was trying to explain this into our audience who doesn't understand protecting your energy. And they were like, well, what do you mean protecting my energy? Like, I'm trying to hold, I said, you're holding space for this person. But when you're done, even though you didn't know that this was the interaction you were gonna have, you are more aware that now you are sensing the energy of others. You see their pain because this is what they were telling me. And I said, then you need to protect yourself from that energy so it doesn't interfere with the energy. So like they were telling me that when they go home, then they're feeling sad and it takes them a minute, either they have to exercise or move around so that they can kind of get back to their own energy. And I said, yeah, because it's all energy.
Right. So there's plenty of ways to cleanse yourself. I mean, like taking a shower is a perfect way to cleanse yourself from someone else's energy. It's like a reset. You know what I mean? You can wash it off. But I think the most important thing to understand is to be compassionate towards someone or towards yourself is not wanting to rescue that person or rescue yourself from the feelings, but just have the awareness and understanding, right? So to be present for it. To be an empath is to actually take on the feelings of someone else. So you can be an empath with boundaries, right? So you can understand that feeling that you have is commingled with the feeling of the person that you're connected with, but you have to understand that it's their feeling. So you have to be able to put their feelings back to them. You're not going to take on their feelings. You can step into their energy field for a moment to understand their depth of feeling, but you don't have to stay there. So when we choose to stay there, that we get, commingled, and we get codependent, and we get, and then we lose sight of what's ours and what belongs to someone else. And then we want to fix it. Then we want to fix it. Then we want to rescue it.
Right. Because we know what they're feeling. We talked about this last week, right? When we go, oh, I've been there, so I know what they're feeling. So I'm being. So what's the difference between being an empath and empathetic?
So empathetic is more like compassionate, right? Empathetic is, again, leaning in with a sense of understanding, but not taking the feelings on. So being an empath or being empathetic, right, is certainly a very, very valuable tool in understanding human nature and human dynamics, and understanding yourself and understanding how others work. But when you get enmeshed and you can't define what's yours and what's someone else's, that's when you get yourself jammed up. So compassionate, healthy living, I get it, because we could spend all day, right? So compassionate, healthy living is understanding that, and it's kind of Abraham, Esther Hicks, right? Not this, that, not this, that, not this, that. So the compassion comes in, in being kind to yourself when you're noticing not this, and moving towards that. I read something yesterday, and it was like, when you're in the struggle, really, there's like two choices, right? You can quit and give it all up, or you can change your trajectory. So you can change the degree of struggling by not being attached to the outcome. So if not this, right, I had my heart set on this, and now I'm coming into a reality that it's not this. I have to be okay with it being not this, and start to move in the direction of that, and see what opens up in the direction of that. But we have to be compassionate with ourselves, because, disappointment is a feeling.
And compassionate with ourselves, I believe, and we definitely got to keep talking about, for someone who's the first time feeling like they're an empath, because they're feeling this energy, because now they are aware, and they're like, oh, being aware is not as fun as I thought it was going to be, because now I'm feeling all this other stuff that I was like, I'd rather be blind. I say, yeah, welcome to this. Welcome to this journey of whatever it is that spiritually you feel with, right? However you connect with source, because you mentioned it here again, it's the collective.
Right.
And compassionate with yourself to say, because I feel like sometimes when you feel somebody's pain and you want to rescue them, and then you feel like if you're not rescuing them or helping them, that you are not helping the collective, like you're not being a good person.
Right.
Because you're okay.
But it has
because you already went through that, and now you're happy, and then you're feeling like shit because
I feel bad because I'm okay, and you're not. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not how it works. The fact that you're okay gives me hope that I too will be able to rise above. We don't drop to the level where others. So this is again awareness and understanding, right? So here's the thing about the title empath. Everyone has the ability to connect with others' energy and understand, right? Some people do it and don't know what it is, and take on and become everything that they feel. So when you have the awareness, that's a beautiful thing, right? So all of a sudden you're like, oh, I understand. That's not mine. I understand that's not mine. Now, that doesn't mean I still don't want to fix it, because I have the awareness, right? So awareness leads to action taken, which leads to new perspectives. But, it's not about, it's one step at a time. So at least if you're aware of it, and you can start to say, well, that's not mine. It still feels really crappy, but it's not mine, and I am compassionate towards others, but being compassionate doesn't mean that I have to drop to the level of suffering of someone else to make them feel okay. You know, I continue to stand in my power and be the beacon of light that illuminates the darkness, that allows them the opportunity to continue to move, right? You could be stuck or paralyzed in the darkness for a whole entire lifetime.
Right.
So me dropping to their level and joining them in the darkness, how does that help them? What does that do for me? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compassionate, healthy living, right? Isn't that where we're at? Oh my God, there's so
Yeah.
much to talk about. So much. Yeah, there's that deep breath, right? And we relax into now. And relax into now. So if you're noticing that, you know, that you're terrified for everybody and you're taking on too much of other people's stuff and you're involved in every drama that's happening in everyone's life, and you know, you can't sleep at night because other people's things are keeping you awake, and you know, like that's where you really have to say, like, whoa, enough's enough. Where am I? Who am I? Where am I? Why am I? What am I?
Yeah. And in your centering, again, we are the light to others. We talked about this last week, right? Be
Good.
the light. So it sounds hard, it sounds complicated, but these are the baby steps of, you know, you're tuning into authentic conversation. This is what we're talking about all the time. And we want to break it down so that you're kind of like, oh, I see this sign and it keeps coming up, or I feel this feeling when I'm around this person. I start drinking and then I lose myself, and then I go home and I'm like, damn it, I said I wasn't going to do this. Or I start doing unhealthy habits, and then you have to see yourself and go, do I surround myself? We talk about, again, the cheerleaders. We're going to continue to say the same thing if you hear and listen to us, because it's all back to the same basic steps. Who are you around and who's lifting you? That doesn't mean you stop being
Healthy
around.
living.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And
Go
if,
ahead.
you know, and if you get a step away, right, Susan, if you have to step away from this person for a little bit to give yourself, to center yourself, and then be around that person. And again, if you go to a situation where you haven't seen somebody for a while, and then, you know, you're thinking like, oh, we're gonna have a good time, and then this person opens up to you and tells you all these things, and you're like, okay, you hold space for them. But then when it's over, you have to come back to centering yourself and say, the energy that's not mine, I asked for it to leave. And this, again, is a little bit complicated. This is your first time you're listening to things about energy. We will continue to have these discussions. This is why we have these 14 mindfulness, because we're trying to break it down. It's already been said. We're not reinventing it. It's already been done.
Thousands and thousands of years said. I mean, you know, none of this stuff is new. It's
And you don't
just
have to be a
new
monk.
awareness.
You don't have to go to the mountains, and you don't have to change everything of who you are to believe and feel this.
So
It's
here's the thing. It's really just new awareness, right? So if you understand that you're seeing or noticing a difference in you when you're around certain people or in certain circumstances, then you come back to you and you recognize what your part is in that. You know, I mean, that's it. We are super responsible for ourselves. We cannot control the actions or behaviors or words or thoughts of others. We can only control our reactions or responses. And we're going to talk about that next week when we talk about taking care of anger, which, you know, is just a fabulous discussion in itself, because it's about the feelings inside of you. So really, if I go back to the paper for just a hot minute here, right? And we talk about consuming in a way that preserves compassion, peace, joy, and well-being in our bodies, in our consciousness, and in the collective body and the consciousness of families and societies and the earth, right? So we become aware that happiness is rooted in peace, solidity, freedom, compassion, right? We we take care of ourselves, then we can tap into that joyful existence. And you talked about protecting your energy. When you understand who you are, then you do not need to take on anything from others, roles from others, negativity from others, responsibility for others, right? It's like shore up the inside, and boy, oh boy, the outside follows. Yeah, healthy, compassionate, healthy living.
And it's
Making the
baby step,
choice.
guys. It's not overnight. Peer pressure, we're still adults. We think that that goes away. It does not. You go to a party, you say, I know alcohol does something to me, but then you feel shame because you're not joining the life of everybody. And it's, again, who are you surrounding yourself with? And if you can't be yourself, then you have to remove yourself until you're ready to tell people, you know what, I'm going to
Not
just
for me.
have, not for me today. I just want a Sprite or something. And that the person doesn't question you and just enjoys your presence. So it's one step at a time. I mean,
It is.
we
And
all,
so the first thing, right? Just to go through your social media and get rid of the stuff that brings negative emotions.
yeah,
Hide the people, and maybe you'll start to even just notice the difference, that, pick up a couple of inspirational, Instagrams or Facebook pages where, littered amongst the gossip is something that says, hey, pause and breathe, hey, notice how you're feeling today. Hey, did you congratulate yourself on something good that happened? Those are
yeah.
the kinds of things that we want to reinforce, because that creates joy.
And the media is already ready there. Okay, they see once you start watching one thing, it starts sending you the same. So look at the vibe of what you're sending, right? Like, it's pretty crazy, but this is the world we're living in. You put one thing that you search, all of a sudden that keeps populating and coming at you. Again, it's like back to the energy of what's around you. You are the director, the actor, the writer of your life.
You're orchestrating. You're the conductor. Energy conductor, punny, got it.
So, guys, we are here for you. We love you. We're sending you lights, lots of love. Reach out to us if you ever need to talk to someone. You have our information. These videos, again, we send them with love. We want to make sure that we can help and be part of the collective. That's all we're trying to do. We don't practice. We don't even know what we're going to talk about sometimes.
Listen, we all rise together. You know what?
And
We all
that's what
rise
we're here.
together.
So thank you. Thank you, Susan, for joining us.
Thank you, Amaryllis.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate all your support. Have a good one.